Happy New Year. We made it to 2023. My last video was a review on the iiRcade Gold Space Invaders cabinet. And I mentioned in the review that when I was assembling this, I had like this whole like revelation here on the difference here, like what an iiRcade is all about versus like what I'm used to putting together are the arcade one-ups. Everything on here, I mean the build again was the same where you're taking one side and you're building everything up and then putting that other side on there and pressing everything in. But everything was different. The monitor's different. The controls are different. The back of the monitor, the speakers, the marquee, everything is completely unique about the iiRcade versus the arcade one up. So I want to go over comparisons here on how these are completely two different products. We're going back and forth saying we want this for the iiRcade, we want these triple A's, where's the bangers? This is designed for games. And if you go on their store, there's over 300 games on there. And they're just going to keep uploading to their library. The arcade one up, yeah, we're playing games on there and do your mods on there. But it brings back that whole nostalgia for this is the arcade cabinet that I remember. And that's the point I want to make in this video. I mean, just standing here looking at X-Men, for example, which is my favorite cab of all time. This cabinet, it's not that I play this a lot. It brings me back to when I saw this. The nostalgia with this cabinet. And that's a big reason why we're getting arcade one-ups. They're a replica of the cabinets that we remember. Whether it was the 4-player at a local bowling alley or the 6-player at Fuddruckers. I mean, you didn't see a lot of those 6 players, but this was the art. I mean, this brings me back to when I'd see this. I mean, this was like a $10 worth of quarters to beat this game. So you'd have that roll of quarters with you, and it would get you through. I mean, it's a quarter muncher game, and you'd clear the game playing this. This is definitely something that I wanted at home, and it just brings you back to that when you're a teenager playing this. And with the iiRcade, I mean, as you're going to add your games, I mean, this library is just going to increase. And I mean, the more games you get, and this is what this is built for. It's all about games. I mean, it brings you to an awesome looking cabinet. I mean, the craftsmanship here, the premium, again, with the speakers, this is all about playing games on here. So we're off like a dirty shirt today on today's Walk and Talk. We're going to get out here and see what we can find today. We just stopped off to grab a coffee. We're going to run into Five Below. I saw that Glenn had found some Pac-Man lights here, so we're going to check this out. Just a quick detour here at Five Below, but look at, there's some LED lights. Could be affordable for your game rooms. Of course, Five Below has now turned into 525. Just checking out the lights they got here. Not a bad deal. All right, as I said, Glenn's Retro Show he picked up all 3 of these. And these are actually still at $5, so that's cool. You know what, I'm going to pick up the Pac-Man. I'll put this up in the arcade. Some of the prices are still $5 at Five Below. I did see some $5.55, some $5.25, and then back at $5. So, are they gonna change their name to like $5.55 and below in the future? Five Below sounds pretty good. I did see this Batman shirt. It's too bad it's a small. This is one of my favorite Batman logos. Pretty cool. So going back to the iiRcade for a second here. I mean, these things are built as a mega multi-cade cabinet. It's all about the games on there, and the games. I mean, they're legitimate. I mean, what are we looking for? Another Mortal Kombat? You got that with Arcade 1-Up. Street Fighter 2, you want it? Get an Arcade 1-Up. Chances are you probably already have that. The iiRcade is exclusive 4 console and arcade themed games. And as of recording of this, it is New Year's Day, January 1st, 2023. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people joining gyms this week and picking up workout equipment. So, I mean, you just look here, not bad prices just to get started here, just to have some dumbbells. Nothing wrong with 5, 10 pound, 8 pound dumbbells here. I mean, you can get good workouts in with these things. Good place to check this out at Five Below. I mean, Arcade 1-Up already has the Pac-Man titles, the Street Fighters, the Mortal Kombats. It's just, I mean, what are we looking for iArcade? It's the true console arcade cabinet. I mean, the game lineup on here, I mean, this is, again, what this was built for. All right, we're leaving Five Below. I got a couple of things I picked up. Now over at what used to be called Loman's Plaza in Brookfield, there used to be a comic book store here that when they killed off Superman in 1993, my dad took us here and we picked up the Death of Superman comic. You know, and I remember the whole drive out here, we couldn't believe, why would they kill off Superman? When it turned out to be, you know, just marketing for them to sell more comic books. I mean, we all know the story, the reign of the Superman. Superman comes back in black, and, you know, the rest is history. And pretty much the two headline stores in the strip mall now is Guitar Center and Half Price Books. I'm gonna run into Half Price Books and meet up with KS. Already some good stuff here at Half Price Books, the 2023 Marvel Comics calendar. Flipping this around. Try to get that glare out of here. Just be a cool calendar to have. Also the Thane. This will look great in your game room. You never know what you're gonna find. Some good buys here. This Mario power-up card game. You know, it's too bad I spent so much for Christmas. I could really go to town in here. We already saw the Thane, the Marvel calendar, this box. Got some good Marvel stuff here. Something my dad would always love is the Star Trek Next Generation show. It was a classic. And to this day, it's just stuff you could rewatch. See Riker #1. You know, as a collector, you know, things can get dangerous and you just reach those points of having to say no once in a while. It's tough. I mean, look at all the good stuff here. Same with the arcades, right? And that's another reason why I did that Pac-Man plug-and-play game. Did a review on that a couple weeks ago. Like, could you get away with this $40 purchase versus buying a full-size cabinet at $299, $399? This might be the buy of the day here, or the find of the day. The Sega Mini, the first model, $100. That is awesome. You got an Xbox 360. You know, for those not familiar with Half Price Bucks, this is a stop to find some of these retro games, vintage. A lot of cool things here. And you just think that it's just books, but I don't come in here quite often enough. Some good stuff. Luckily, KS was looking for a notebook, and I think she's going to walk out of here with a little bit more than that. Very cool stuff here. Some old retro games, some cards. There's the Joust. Of course, what's Half Price Books without finding those comic books? It's been years since I've picked up any comics. I do have quite a collection at home, waiting for that day where they finally like hold their value. Like, you always thought these were going to be worth something, but you know, it just turns out that they printed out so many in the 80s and 90s that it'd be a long time till you could really cash out on these. And a bunch of PS games and Xbox also. The one thing about these is it's tough with the CDs. I do have the original Xbox, and I kind of got into collecting some of these before I got into the arcade cabinets. And if that disc has one scratch on it, it's going to be hard for that machine to read it. But this is a good place to find some of these titles. Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Sega. I love the Genesis. Hard to pass up on Genesis games when I do find them. I go back and forth between Marvel and DC. Primarily, though, more of a DC fan from the past. Batman and Superman. I'm just a sucker for this. This would be a great puzzle to put together. All the Batmans throughout the years. 500 pieces, along with I have a Captain America 500-piece puzzle. $10 for a puzzle is not bad. I mean, just think about how many hours would this take. I guess it could be quick, depending on the puzzle size, but for $10 for that entertainment, not bad. Like I said, KS was here for a notebook, and now she's got to cycle through here. Like, what is she going to get all this? Is she going to leave anything back? Tough decisions today at Half Price Books. Just looking at this NFL picture here from the past, you think about NFL Blitz, and like, why would iiRcade have NFL Blitz when Arcade 1UP already does? The cabinet, everything about it. iiRcade does have the football games. They're different than NFL Blitz, and that's the whole point. It's those other games that will be available for download. KS just pointed this out to me. Check this out, Galaxian. Coleco. Check this old game out. This is awesome. $85. Very cool. Right, off from one bookstore to another. Let's see what Barnes & Noble has today. And some new calendars here. We got the Super Mario Brothers 2023 calendar. This brings back all those memories, all those boards on here. Those Transformer fans. You got Megatron right in the front. It's a cool calendar. Always fun to see the new calendars for the new year. Spider-Man. A couple years ago, I got this Chuck Norris calendar. It was a desk calendar. And every day it was something new, like how many push-ups can Chuck Norris do? And the answer was all of them. Well, $10 for this isn't bad. I do have this DC Comics encyclopedia, one of those coffee table books. Something cool for the living room. And these mini kits here, you see the Ghostbuster trap, very cool. Thor hammer, the bat signal, Iron Man. And there was this ET one. I saw a promo on Disney Plus. They showed the shows to come. We got Loki season 2 coming soon. It was a fun show. It's always something good to have some extra Marvel shows, some extra Star Wars shows on Disney Plus. Barnes & Noble is at that Brookfield Square Mall where we did a walk and talk a few weeks ago. Are people out today? New Year's Day? The Arcade 1UP, in my opinion, it's if you want to relive those classic, that style you remember from years ago. I mean, that's why I'm personally am buying these arcades. And I do play them. But it's also the look. It's like works of art or furniture in the arcade room. That's why I'm purchasing arcade one-ups. The iiRcade, it's going to be more for playing games. You're going to be downloading a lot more games on the iiRcade, and there's going to be so many more to come. And it's a great option to have in your arcade room. Going back to that movie theater we touched on a couple of weeks ago, is arcade one-up in trouble? For us that are saying, we're done with arcade one-up, you see all those videos, they're not in trouble. Why? Because Sam's Club is doing liquidation. They're just trying to meet their end year quota. I mean, they obviously overbought on cabinets, and that's why there was just incredible deals on ad games, on titles such as NFL Blitz, Mortal Kombat 3. You look back here at the bumper cars. You have a bowling alley back in here. Yeah, just coming to this mall, it's like, our mall's in trouble? This should be packed right here. And I know it's New Year's Day. There's not a lot of people in here. I mean, there's activity going on, but Arcade One-Up's not in trouble. All Arcade One-Up has to do is give us another title like Time Crisis, Robotron, Smash TV, whatever, however skin that would, variant cover that would be, and we're back on board. I mean, and that's what people are leaving out of the videos. As soon as they bring something that we want to buy, something we haven't seen, we're all over it. That's all Arcade One-Up has to do, is just give us a title like this. Doesn't this look exciting? Another Ant-Man Wasp movie, of course. Same with Arcade One-Up. Give us another title, give us a new movie. Yeah, we're going to go see this. That's all they have to do. They're not in trouble just because retailers bought too much of a certain product. Arcade One-Up releases something that we all want. We're all buying it, and that's goes with things we saw today of, when's enough? Like, we have to say no on stuff. Eventually, we're going to have to say no on purchases, unless we're going to sell some of those cabinets. The sports memorabilia, you can compare, like, oh, that's in trouble. Arcade One-Up, iiRcade, they're not in trouble. Home arcades are hot right now. In 2023, there's going to be a lot of options, a lot more titles, games to buy on iiRcade, and Arcade One-Up making new cabinets. To think years ago, like, if you held onto your sports memorabilia, you're sitting on a gold mine. I mean, that's not the case. I mean, someday, yeah, the home arcades are gonna die off. Things come back, but just comparing, the sports world here, it's not a lot of sports memorabilia as popular as it used to be. So our final stop at the Walk and Talk is at the Brookfield Fashion Center, another strip mall. And I made a deal with KS that if we went to Five Below earlier today, we would stop at Ulta. I do use Paul Mitchell hairspray, and Ulta is one of the very few places I can actually find this. So there was a little incentive for me coming here too. All right, so I got my hairspray. We'll just keep this one between you and me, okay? Back at the homestead, there's a dog walking park pretty close to the house. Nice day out. I mean, for January 1st in Wisconsin, 42, 43 degrees outside. The sun being out does help, but we had to get Mr. West out for a quick walk. And here comes Mr. West. Just did his 2-mile walk. Not too many nice days like this left. Got to take advantage of them. All right, we're back in the arcade finally. Now, I did pick up these two at Five Below today. I was just going to get the Pac-Man, but I went with the Ghost to go with him. So changed my mind when I went up to the register to pick this up. Coming back to the iiRcade, I'm completely okay with platform games on this cabinet. I'm not interested in buying a console. I want the arcade experience. If I want to relive those arcades that I saw when I was a kid or wherever, then I get the Arcade One-Up. It's as close to that true, real arcade as I'm going to get. And the games on the iiRcade, I mean, again, over 300 games. There's more to come, and there's special options we're going to have with this USB port. We're going to have light guns. We're going to have trackballs. I mean, who knows what's to come for these cabinets? So, I mean, I think it's a great thing to have an iiRcade with your arcade one-ups in your arcade room. I mean, it's just, why not have as many games as we can? Yeah, we're not going to get Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Ninja Turtles, X-Men. We're not going to get that on here. But we may get Streets of Rage 4. We may get Shredder's Revenge. And for the arcade games that Arcade one-up, supposedly, they own everything, right? So if there's games that they're not going to come out with, iiRcade should be able to have the right to put them on there, to give us the option to buy these if we're not going to be able to download options, buy from a store with Arcade one-up. That I'd like to get into my next walk and talk. I want to get into something, an idea that I have for Arcade one-up going into the future here, because look, I mean, this room's filling up. I don't have a lot of room going on in here. It's a great thing that I can download games on here, and there's going to be some great titles coming soon. I can feel it. And as far as Arcade one-up, are they in trouble for 2023? All these sales and everything. I mean, we went over what companies do near the end of quarters, near year end. They're just trying to break even, meet their quota. I think this has been covered on a lot of other people's videos that, they've made money in elsewhere options, and, they're just trying to balance everything out. People getting bonuses, whatever. However way you want to look at that. Anytime that Arcade one-up comes out with a new cabinet, let's say Star Wars, Time Crisis, we're going to jump on that immediately. If the people on here don't have Star Wars, we're going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. Time Crisis, we're going to get Time Crisis. I mean, no one's going to pass on that. Maybe, yeah, if it was $7.99, we might wait for it to come back down, in time, because it probably will. But people are still going to jump on that, and just other cabinets. We have no idea what's to come. We have speculation on, hey, there might be these models coming. I thought that Smash TV there's a good chance that would happen this year. And I think Robotron and Total Carnage would be on there. And maybe they give us some kind of option where you could get a Robotron skin art, like how the Capcom Legacy cabinets go, and the Namco Legacies, with the Dig Dug and the Pac-Mania, have different variants. So those are my takes. That's my Arcade one-up versus iiRcade, and they're completely two different products. And it's not like a Coke and Pepsi, Reebok, Nike thing. It's like airplanes and trains. It's just they're two completely different things, and we got to stop looking at it and comparing the two, because I think we benefit the most. We're the ones who benefit from this because it gives us what we want at the end of the day. Thanks for coming along with me today. We saw some cool stuff. Some funny stuff on the way too. So it was a great walk and talk. I'll see you guys next time. So look at the lights. Not a bad retro vibe in here. This might be the closest I ever come to a Pac-Man cab in this arcade. It's just like that HDMI plug and play. Those games might be enough to keep me from bringing in another arcade in here, because space is limited. There'll be good backdrop in this corner with these Pac-Man lights.